Hello and welcome to another Iran Freedom Conference. Today's issue is about human rights situation in Iran with a special focus on women's rights and role in Iran. Our guests today are Azadeh Hosseini and Hamideh Ranjbar from UK, actually residing in UK. Let me welcome you both to our conference. Thank you very much for attending.
Hello, thank you for having us, and hello to your guests as well.
Can you give me a short introduction on yourself? What do you do? How old are you? And what are your views on Iran? If you would, each one of you would please introduce yourself in the beginning.
Okay, my name is Azadeh Hosseini. I'm a chemistry teacher in London. I'm 34 years old, and I've been living here since the age of 3.
And Hamideh?
Hello to everybody. My name is Hamideh Ranjbar. I'm living about 24 years in UK, and my profession is home designer and fashion designer.
Okay, very nice to have you today with us. We want to discuss the situation of women in Iran under Rouhani. As you know, the 14th of June was the 3rd anniversary of Rouhani's presidency in Iran. As a woman, I want you to please give us your assessment on the situation and on Rouhani's record. Azadeh, would you please start?
Sure. Well, Rouhani has had a dreadful 3-year term in Iran, much like his predecessors. No different, really. Only very recently we heard that 70 people had been arrested for attending a party. There's the ongoing persecution and arrest of Sunni youths, and there's also the continued persecution of religious minorities. Over the past 3 years, over 2,400 people have been executed, and that's more than in any similar period in the past 25 years. So he's been an awful president. The fact that the West have tried to paint him as a moderate and to sell him to the West as a moderate is just ridiculous, because the UN Special Rapporteur for Human Rights in Iran has said that the overall situation in Iran has worsened with regards to the human rights. So really the situation in Iran is quite bad at the moment.
Great, thank you. As you mentioned, more than 2,400 have been executed by the regime, mostly young men and juveniles, and that includes a stunning 68 women in just 3 years, which is unprecedented in the world. And Hamideh, would you please tell me your views?
As Azadeh said, Rouhani has a very bad record of the worstest president in Iran since revolution, and I read a record of the United Nations in this year, March of 2016, which he's wrote it extremely seriously and extremely human rights of execution in Iran. This means, I think the Europe and the US, they should accept now. They're trying to pretend Rouhani is the moderate, there is a freedom, democracy, but unfortunately it's the worst time of the year, or I can say the presidents of the Iran, which since Rouhani came on power. And women especially, they are suffering a lot, and as you know, they have an acid attack, they have arresting for the makeup, for dressing, for everything. There is no freedom, especially for women. They are not allowed to choose them life by themselves. And we are worried about that as well. And I hope we can do something about the freedom and especially human rights in Iran, because it isn't just for the women. We have a record of the men as well, which they are suffering, not the suffering. It's the life they have. I can say, they are mentally torturing inside and outside of the prison inside Iran, and there is no freedom. I hope the Arab countries accept that now. It's too late, but it's much better than, if you compare this year and last year. And this is we can say we are success about the, to show the real face of the Rouhani.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. You pointed out a very important point, and that's the acid attacks on women. That's actually one of the major hallmarks of Rouhani's presidency, the acid attacks on 400 women in Iran in almost the first year of his presidency. And now, why do you think women are the main targets of crackdowns in Iran? Hamideh, would you please elaborate on this a little bit?
If you see, there is a problem in the families. It isn't just one case or two cases or different issues. They have a problem right now. A lot of women in Iran, they are suffering of the family. I can say when they are in parents' house, they haven't got freedom to go out, and the reason of that, this society, it isn't that. How can I say, it isn't prepared for the woman to be free. And especially I heard a news about Revolutionary Guards. They are in the street, even they are choosing beautiful women. And in beginning, they are getting them details, and when the people, they are women, they are afraid of them, and they are giving them name, them address, them phone number, everything, and they are I can shame to say, to be honest, and the Revolutionary Guard asking them to come falan, that day, with the date and time given to them. If you don't come, we will come to arrest you. And this is issues they have got. That's why they're making, to save them, daughters or wife or sister or even the mothers. They have a hard time to going out. I know a lot of people, they have educated, high qualifications, but them parents, they don't let to them to go to the world because of the situation in Iran. And they are afraid because of the arresting in the streets, for, as I told you, for the makeups, for the, for the dressing, everything.
Okay.
That's why they trying to keep at home.
Yes.
And this
so
is
what
not
you're
good for
telling
the
us
women.
is that the families are trying to be protective for their daughters and the mother and the female members of the family because of the institutionalized misogyny in the laws of the Iranian regime. Actually, everything is directed against women, and that's why some families are being protective, but actually everything is institutionalized in Iranian laws. The best example of what you just said was the execution of Reyhan Jabbari, who was a 26 years old interior designer, like you are, and and she was threatened with sexual assault when she defended herself. And actually, the man was a high intelligence ministry, a senior intelligence ministry official, and that's what happened. They arrested her, and then they didn't. They actually set her up for execution after a long time interrogation and torture. So what you said is really true. They take their own advantages of decent women. But Azadeh, what do you think about the work environment? Can you tell us a little bit about what women face in the work environment, in universities, on the streets?
As you've rightly and Hamideh,
as I told you on the street was sorry, Azadeh.
That's okay. As you both rightly touched on, Iranian women are persecuted in all sectors of society, whether they're out on the streets, they're subjected to acid attacks, subjected to setups, subjected to rape, for which they are then punished for. And I think it's a very similar state in the workplace. Work for women is very, very difficult when they are at work outside, having to come and go from work, and whilst they are at work, they're subjected to very, very stringent rules. And essentially the Iranian regime works to make the lives of women as difficult as possible, so as to really to prevent the explosion of the wrath of these women that has built up over the years, being persecuted for so long. They're just waiting for an opportunity to sort of just essentially explode and really change things in Iran. And the Iranian regime is so scared of this, and so their persecution really is top of the Iranian regime's agenda.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. As we all know, the women's participation in the economic area, or their political participation, or their administrative participation is really abysmal in Iran. For example, their political participation stands at the meager 3%, and then their administrative rule is at 2%. Their administrative participation in the economic life of the country is 2%. And out of 40 million unemployed in Iran, more than 28 million are women, and they are mostly educated with college degrees. Can you, Hamideh, would you please tell us about young women and girls in Iranian universities? How is their admission, and what problems do they face in university as far as their fields of study is concerned, and what happens to them afterwards in the job market? Would you please explain to us a little bit?
In the universities, they have a hard time as well, you know. Even they are not allowed to choose their own or favorite subject to study, or to have a chat with even classmate of them. There is a same level of the class as a man. If they wanted to talk about the lessons, they've been arrested, or there is someone even in site of the university, and there is a lot of issues in university. There is no facility for example, I heard about IT classes in the university. For every 16 students, there is a computer.
Mm-hmm. One computer.
It is very hard. Yeah, it is very hard. Yeah, can you imagine?
IT.
It is, for IT classes in University Tehran. for every 16 students, one computer, the same time they have to use. You know, how they can, I don't know, learn the lesson at the same time what they are teaching. It is this kind of issues, and for the food and everything, even they are getting paid and they are paying for the food, but there is a problem about the food as well. It isn't just wearing makeup without those. If you think it is a lot of problem in university.
I've heard the universities are mostly segregated, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So it's not only talking, but they are actually restricted in the university area. And then when they go in and they come out, there are security guards that just stop them and review their clothing, right?
Yeah, their clothing, as I told you at the beginning, makeup. You know, as I told you, inside prison and outside prison in Iran, they are torturing mentally, you know, women and men together. Doesn't matter. It isn't just that issue, you know. If you, I don't know how much you heard about the hospitals, and there is a real problem. It isn't just medicine. It isn't just, you know, there is no facility for operation. There is no facility for even medication for the, you know, cancer. And this is a hard time. And, you know, women, I think they are suffering more. For example, I heard news in Iran about the breast cancer. There is a lot of women suffering from the breast cancer, and they can't get treated. And universities, you know, there isn't open for public. If you go inside the university, you don't feel you are in university. You are at the university Tehran or on the rest of them. I can tell you the
greatest share of admissions go to the basijs, right?
Yeah, that's
Is that what you mean?
You are not feeling you are in university, you feel you are at the prison. And this is takes, you know, how can I say, women, they can be free, feel free, even at the university. Or how can I say, women, they can do exactly equal of the man at the university. There is a lot of subjects for women that they are not allowed to study. And this is so sad and so shameful to say. The basages are more than, yes, they are, you know, more than the basages. How can I explain exactly? Basages are one of the main subject in the university, and they are in the class.
Yes, they are the paramilitary wing of the Revolutionary Guards.
At the toilet. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've heard that women cannot. Is it true, Hamideh, that women cannot study, for example, oil industry engineering, or they cannot study construction engineering because after that they have to be in the field, and that's why they prevent them studying these fields? Is that true?
Yeah, they are not allowed to study, yes.
Or many fields in agriculture.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
And
then let me ask Azadeh. Then how do you explain the fact that women's admission to universities has been higher than men's. I mean, they are, for example, 60 or 70% of university graduates in Iran are women. Although I know that under Rouhani, this rate has dropped from 48% under Ahmadinejad to 45.5%, as the official news agency of the Iranian regime, IRNA, has reported. How do you explain then that what is driving women to universities such a great admission rate, I mean, not admission, graduation rate for women in the universities? Can you explain that a little bit? And then could you tell us what happens to them after that with the job market?
Yes, women in Iran obviously want to progress and want to make a future for themselves and for their family. And really, I think they see that they have to be able to stand on their own 2 feet, and they are very, very progressive in their thoughts. If unfortunately the Iranian regime try for them not to be, so they're really trying to make progress as much as they can in all fields. Unfortunately, the issue is once they do graduate and they try to enter the field of work, then life becomes quite difficult, and they're prevented from applying for many jobs and making the progress that they should. And I know this from many members of my own family, the women that went to university, that graduated and tried to get jobs, and really found barrier after barrier preventing them from making the progress that they should, from preventing them from standing on their own 2 feet. And really that comes down to the Iranian regime's policy of holding women back as much as possible in order to be able to control them.
Mm-hmm. Well, with a meager 2% women's participation in the economic area, one could guess how many women who graduate from university actually get a job. And I actually heard from the officials of the regime that even women who have employment, they are employed in the unofficial sector, and they are receiving wages far below the official wage, which is, again, that's lower than a man's salary. But still, because they need the job, some of the women who badly need the job, they just get those very low pay salaries. They accept that in the unofficial sector. Okay, now after this short assessment of the situation, I want to get on with the nuclear accord. Some people say that Rouhani's policies have become more moderate after the nuclear agreement with the P5+1, and they believe that the West should have economic relations and political relations with this country. As an Iranian woman, how do you see that, and what is your opinion on this thought?
Is that addressed to me?
Yes, go ahead, Azadeh. Yes, you can.
Well, really, in my opinion, the nuclear deal was an absolute sham. The Iranian regime is once again playing the West, making promises that it can't keep, and really, it's a shambles. And the West should be ashamed of itself. The Iranian regime is not only terrorizing its own people, it's exporting terror over the border into Iraq, and supporting Assad in his brutal suppression of the Syrian people. It's really terror at home and abroad, not only in Syria and Iraq, but across the world. And really, the West should really think about its ties with this regime and think about what it's doing. The situation with the Iranian regime is absolutely dire, and the best policy with such a brutal fascist regime, who, as you say, is they're developing, well, essentially weapons of mass destruction in order to hold the world to ransom eventually, is the best policy is a very clear policy to end dialogue with the Iranian regime, and to support the Iranian people and its democratic opposition. I really don't see any alternative to this. This whole nuclear game has been playing itself out year after year. Promise after promise has been broken, and the Iranian regime has no intention of giving up its nuclear program, but it's just buying time. And really, once the world is held to ransom, that's it. And Western governments need to take hold of the situation and to really think about the future, rather than sort of their own presidency and the immediate future. The long-term future of the world is at stake here.
Very right. Okay, Hamideh, would you please give me your views as well on this question that I posed right now? How about the human rights situation? What should the West do about the situation of human rights in Iran? Is there any way they can help?
Yeah, they can. They can help a lot. As they put it sanctions. That was very useful. They tied the mullahs' hands to doing more terrorist action, and about the nuclear as well.
But should they
even about human rights, they can do.
Yes, go ahead.
About the human rights, actually, they can do more, and they can force the mullah's regime to stop execution and torturing in prison as well. Hopefully, I think now they got the message how dangerous are the mullahs, and I think they started to react about Iran, and this is a good sign, which is this year we have, and I think there is no point mullahs, to have a two faces. To have a two faces, what they are talking about Iran outside of the Iran, and what they are doing inside of the Iran. Now I think the Europe countries and US and the rest of the countries, they found out how they are two faces. And I hope one day all women and Iran become free, and we will see how we can, prove our country and our people how they are clever and they are deserve to have a freedom and democracy.
Exactly. So in other words, we can say that if the West wants to help improve the situation of human rights in Iran, they should condition their economic relations on improvement of human rights in Iran, and they should ask the regime to, for example, release all political prisoners, to give freedoms to people, and then they can have their economic relations only then, when our people are enjoying more freedom in Iran. Otherwise, it's terrible if they want to sacrifice the lives of people in Iran, 80 million people, for petty economic interests and oil revenues and that kind of thing. Okay, thank you both. I assume that you have been taking part in the grand gathering in France every year.
Yes.
I want to ask you, why do you think this year's gathering is more important? Azadeh, would you start first?
Yes, the Iranian regime is crumbling. The awful human rights situation in Iran, as well as its export of terror, show that it's really its method of survival is to spread terrorism at home and abroad, and really the Iranian people have lived under oppression for far too long. So I'm looking forward to the gathering in Paris on the 9th of July to show my opposition to the Iranian regime, and to support Mrs. Rajavi, who is the genuine opposition to the Iranian fundamentalist clerics. I truly believe that she can guide the Iranian people towards obtaining freedom from the clerical regime, and I'm really going to go there to show my presence, that the Iranian people desire change, and the time for change has come.
Good. And Hamideh, would you please give me your views?
Yes, I every year been in this the gathering in the Paris, and this is as Mrs. Rajavi says, only solution is for freedom and democracy by the changing mullahs, and now is the good time. Exactly, it is the best time this year. If you compare with the rest of the years, this year is the best year of the situation, which is Rouhani made in Iran. His record is the worst of the rest of the presidents in Iran, which unbelievable. And important things, all of the Iranian people, they stand up. They have a demonstration. They've been arrested for different part of the Iran, and this is important. This gathering is voice of the voiceless in Iran people, and the voiceless of the Iranian people, and we are going to there to show with Mrs. Rajavi what she says about the Iran and Iranian is the truth, and to show the real face of the Rouhani and Khamenei, and to show to the Iranian people we are in there and we're gonna be with them. We're gonna be the voice of them as well.
Good. So as the regime gets weaker, both inside Iran and getting stuck in Syria, and it's very frail, it's better for the Iranian opposition and their friends and allies to get more united against this threat and danger of Islamic fundamentalism, and give the proper answer, a big blow to the regime on July 9th. And what do you think?
Remind me, sorry, you remind me, I want to add.
Go ahead.
This is not just for the Iranian people. This is about around the world. The people around the world are endangered because of the mullahs regime of Iran. They are heart of the terrorists. They are brain of the terrorists, and they are supporting terrorists around the world as well. And I am very happy we can, be with the 70 countries around the world together in Paris, which is good sign of, the people, they understand what's going on and what they are doing, the mullahs doing in Iran. And I wish next year we gather all together in Iran.
Okay, great. We hope so too. Now, what is the message? What would be the message of this gathering, the grand July 9th gathering in Paris, to Western officials and to the West? Can you tell me, Hamideh, please?
Yes, the message for the Western countries, it is Western Union, it is, we are in here, we gonna stay with the Iranian people, we gonna fight for the freedom. I can say that they can't shut us, off, and can't they can't close them eyes to see, to pretend there is nothing happen. We will show to them as well.
And Azadeh, would you please give me your views? What is the message of this gathering to the West?
The message will be that we stand united with the Iranian people, with the Western people, against the Iranian regime. Our message will be for Western governments to put pressure on the Iranian regime to improve its human rights situation, and if it can't do so, then to cut ties with it. And our message will also be to side with the Iranian people and to side with humanity and justice. And as Hamideh said, we call upon all of our friends, Iranian and those from other nationalities, to support us in this big gathering.
Great. So we are going to tell the world that the Iranian people want regime change, right?
Indeed.
Yes.
The time for change is long overdue.
A regime change with the Iranian resistance and at the hand of the Iranian people. That's the ultimate message. There is an alternative to this regime. So the West should stop supporting the regime, stop dealing with the regime, and on the other hand, they should lend their support to the Iranian opposition, which will show its prowess on July 9th. And could you give a message to Iranian women, please, from this tribune, from this forum?
Sure. Well, we stand with the Iranian women. We stand with those who are suffering inside Iran's prisons, those who are outside prisons, those who have been subjected to those brutal acid attacks. We will be their voice. We will fight for justice for them, and we hope that they will soon be free.
Sure. And Hamideh, would you please, what is your message to women in Camp Liberty and in Iran? Hello?
My message to them, I want to say 100%. We are with, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. My message is firstly to the Liberty Women, to say to them, thank you. You've been very, you've been very talented, very, I can't find the words to say to them. I am really proud of them, and I am really they made me to put my head up, and this is they are sample of the Iranian women, even for the around the world, not just for Iranian women. I'm really proud of them, and thank you to them. And we learn a lot of lessons from them, and they're gonna be free. They're gonna make Iranian women free as well. I'm sure 100% about that. And my message for the Iranian women and Camp Liberty: we are with you. We are support you. We are all the time, anytime, and financially. physically, what they think we're gonna be with them, we're gonna stand up with them, and we gonna get freedom by the Mrs. Rajavi for Iranian women, and this is which is make Mrs. Rajavi 10 points, and only solution is change Mullah's regime and Mrs. Rajavi with 10 points.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Hamideh and Azadeh. Thank you for taking part in our conference and for sharing your thoughts about the situation of women's rights in Iran. And we thank you, everybody, on behalf of Iran Freedom for joining us today. Thanks much.
Thank you.
Thank you to have us.